Welcome. These will be my thoughts on Hit Monkey, Season 1, Episode 7, Sayonara Monkey. The episode is rated TVMA, so will this video be? There will be spoilers for these first 7 episodes. Another episode that I absolutely love, like all the ones preceding it. And I think we're just gonna dive right in. So, yeah, I think this is one of my favorites so far. Yeah, the whole thing with Lady Bullseye, absolutely loved it. This episode did not at all disappoint because she's got such a great introduction at the end of the episode before this one, and then this one absolutely. She was even more badass than I had thought based on that. So I think yeah, I'm gonna try to take it more or less chronologically. So there at the start, we see some animals. I'm thinking someone's gonna shoot Bambi's mom again, and this friendly, cheery zookeeper going around feeding them, greeting them, and then of course, yeah, all the macaques are dead, and yeah, like she was thorough, as the cops note, and she made the symbol because she wanted Monkey to know, because she's not worried. She knows that the fact that he is waiting for her is not going to make it that much more difficult for her. She likes the challenge. She just, yeah. And let's see. I think that does bring us to I think we see the cops looking into it. Yeah, and there's a thing about, like, do you think this has anything to do with our monkey? It is like, no, this is probably an entirely unrelated mass murder of monkeys. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the mass murdering monkey itself, certainly. And yeah, the thing about, they'll take one bite of persimmons and then throw the rest away, and he used to really annoy her, and then, the cop thinks back, I saw that in Akiko's backyard, so yeah. Um, and the yeah, they're continuing to move that ahead very nicely. And yeah, then we see yeah, the wise man, the holy man once again giving some advice. And yeah, it was fantastic the way that, yeah, so Bryce lays it all out about the list, and he's just sitting there eating crackers. And then, he takes a short break, clears his throat, and we're like, okay, so he's going to say something now. And then he just takes a sip. The fact that Bryce has no power here is hilarious. Like, obviously, people were ignoring Bryce when he was alive as well. It's not particularly new now, but just the fact that, because this is this is so far the only human being that has been able to see Bryce since he died. So, yeah. And the thing with yeah, the line, could you just stop snacking, please? And eventually he does say, come. Great, one word. At this rate, maybe he'll finish a sentence by the end of the season. And yeah, the thing with putting some salt there so that, to show to Monkey that Bryce can be, you know, and I've yeah, restrained like that. And I've heard that one before in other media. There's a belief in that in, you know, at least I can think of at least one culture that has that belief in real life. So yeah, very nicely done. And I love oh my God, the fucking line about he might be a demon. I mean, look at all these signs. Of course, in this case, he might just be American. Shots fired. And let's see. I mean, in the writer's defense, when this episode aired, Trump had already, yeah. this episode's from 2021, so Trump had been president for years, and yeah, I think that does bring us nicely to and the thing about like, you are the one in charge, not him. And yeah, Monkey does indeed spend the rest of the episode doing the opposite of what Bryce suggests, which is very funny because like he was already frustrated with various things when Monkey was trying to do what he said, but now it's turned up to 11 because like no matter what Bryce is just And I feel like that brings us to so they walk away from there and then they see all the dead macaques and Bryce recognizes the signature, and yeah, they have to go get the guns, and yeah, great montage of the guns being armed, and then of course, yeah, they're sitting there at Akiko's, and it's like, I don't think she's gonna be the biggest fan of this, and the bit where oh, this is definitely her, shoot her. Bryce, you're not making a great case for Monkey doing what you say. That is a horrible advice. Like, yeah, just make sure you know what you're shooting. Like, that's literally the first thing. I'm not saying I've been through it, but I've heard about it. Like, the first thing they teach you about, like, gun safety is don't fire if you're not sure what you're shooting at. Like, oh my God. This is like, saying you are, you've studied the various psychotherapists throughout history, and then when someone asks you about Freud, you're like, who? But yeah, I'm not saying, listen, I get that a bunch of the stuff he came up with has since been disproven. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying factual kind of, anyway. He's the first one you'll hear about, is my point. And yeah, the bit with the and she's like, this is just like those guns that killed Ken, and then Bryce is like, well, actually, Bryce, I think this is a time where you're fucking lucky she can't hear you. And yeah, the cat being like, there's an Uzi in my litter box again. And then after, when they see Lady Bullseye on the roof, and I think yeah, I'm pretty sure that was when the cat's like, I hate you. Which I'm not sure if that's in response to anything or if that's just a cat's like baseline. But yeah, the thing with Bryce sees through the window, the cops are there, and then yeah, Lady Lady Bullseye on the roof, and yeah, really really cool. And once again, this wonderfully complicated, some would say convoluted situation. And yeah, the explosion is one of those that it's like, I don't know. So far, this show has not like done too much of that. I do think it is, you got to watch how many explosions you have that don't actually, in fiction, obviously, that don't actually kill anyone important. That's like, because like literally everyone survived the explosion. It was, the one cop died right after, but that was not the explosion. And the bit with like, okay, run, no, not towards danger. I mean, there's going your own way, and then there's just being like petty and spiteful. Like, oh, you want me to do the smart thing? Well, I'll show you. Jesus Christ, Monkey. And let's see. Yeah, he tries to, he left some debris, but then she nails him to the wall. And just fantastic, the bit with like, killing circus animals, is this what I've been reduced to? But then I just remind myself I got into this because, and just, yeah, goddamn. And thankfully the cops, yeah, it's it's not a huge surprise that she tries to kill the the female cop, and then I was surprised, but it's a good way to conclude his arc, because we do see that he dies from his, which is understandable. Look at where it hit. But yeah, the cop is never letting, I mean literally, never letting one of his partners die again because he wasn't acting fast enough. And the bit where Monkey just like throws a rock at Lady Bullseye and then flips her off, serving up a lot of birds, as many as it can, while still standing. Better than it's ever been. And, Bryce is like, okay, you got her attention. I think this is the time to run. And again, Monkey just standing there for, like, not terribly long, but still, like, just to show that Bryce isn't in charge. And, fantastic chase across the rooftops. Holy shit. Like, Lady Bullseye is never very far behind, jumping through the glass, and then Lady Bullseye is right behind. Oh my god. And oh my god, the part where Lady Bullseye is like, if you stop, I promise I'll make it quick. She's lying. Don't believe it. Okay, I'm sorry. It's just that sometimes you misinterpret people. That's all. Right. It was also very funny with, okay, Monkey, explained. I don't speak monkey. And let's see. I feel like that pretty much gets us to, yeah. And so that's when, so Monkey jumps onto the train. And I was wondering if Lady Bullseye was going to pull a French Connection one. And I was not disappointed. And the motorcycle ducking and weaving between, like, traffic definitely gave me Matrix Reloaded vibes. And I'm not the biggest fan of the Matrix movies that are not the first, but I acknowledge that there's some amazing action in 2 and 3. I wish I loved 4. I really do, but I made an entire video talking about it. I don't have anything new to add to what I said there. And then we have the, let's see. Yeah, oh my god, she's like throwing, she's still using these like household items, and she like impales a motherfucker inside the train. And understandably, the conductor does the conducting and conducts it to stop, which is not great for Monkey. And just through and through fantastic action in this episode. And oh my god, the part where the parts where she throws, like, she grabs glass, she punches glass and throws it. Oh god, the part where Bryce is like, great, you just earned yourself 150 years of bad luck. Wow. But the anyway, yeah. She, he keeps shooting the stuff she throws at him, and at one point one of them like hits, cuts her cheek, and she's like, seriously? Just, I also love the line about, like, she'll kill everyone if she's in a bad mood, or in a good mood for that matter. And let's see. Oh, and also the part where, like, okay, so back when I was alive, there were only 2 things I was afraid of. One was Ghost, which is ironic right now, and the other one was Lady Bullseye. And he is right. She is on a whole other level than everyone they've fought up to this point. And like, he actually manages to mid-air shoot out her tire, so she crashes into the truck and it explodes. Oh my god, the part with the guy who just like, oh, I'm so glad I got this chance to start my life over. I don't care about that. Just fucking get here on time. And then explosion, and they managed to bring him back to life, and he's like, please just let... I'm sorry, that's... I have a dark enough sense of humor that I found that really funny. And I think yeah, and so Monkey does survive. And yeah, I gotta agree with Bryce. This might be a good time to take just a tiny break. But yeah, and let's see. Yeah, so Monkey goes to the hospital, and we find out that the cop did indeed die, and we have confirmation on who the partner is, and he's like, oh, he told you, didn't he? And all the cops, or a bunch of cops at least, were standing right outside, waiting, and yeah. Oh, right. I don't know how I forgot to mention, but yeah, Kiko was fired by her uncle, and we can understand, yeah, supporting the monkey is a bit bad optics. So yeah, she was already having a bad day, and then she comes home and finds all the guns, and some of them pointed directly at her. And I think but yeah, and the cop sees that Akiko did survive and is frustrated because it feels like if one of them had to die, maybe it should be the one harboring the monkey. I guess it doesn't really look like she's changed her mind on the monkey, even though, I mean, she must have seen it help. Oh, I guess to her it just looked like it was running away, didn't it? Shit. Yeah. Um, let's see. I think that does pretty much cover the yeah, it was genuinely great when, so yeah, you have this big moving speech about like, I don't know how to make this right, and she's like, rehire me, which, like, that was a joke I would have made if she hadn't already made, if they didn't make it in the episode. I didn't make it while watching it before she did, but yeah. And the thing about, like, we'll have to take a pay cut, I was getting paid. And oh my god, also the part with, like, I've never really had a friend until you. Oh, you just heard none of that. Okay, fine. And yeah, when Monkey sees how bad Akiko is, and very sweet with a little band-aid and everything. Yeah. The bit with thinking about all this death and blaming Bryce, and we can understand why, and fantastic artwork there, depicting him as a demon. Because, like, yeah, I mean, I do think it is a fact that Monkey's tribe would still be alive if Bryce hadn't collapsed so near them and then been helped by them. And I'm not saying that, like, I I wouldn't say that I blame him because, like, he didn't fire the guns that did, he fired that one bullet that got the ball rolling for this whole thing, but obviously, they didn't have to. They were facing a snowball fight. Like, just fuck off. You don't actually have to use violence. But violence is all they understand. That's the only language they speak. And yeah, so let's see, yeah, so he lures. Yeah, the thing about, like, oh, so she housebroke you. You meant that completely literally. And then, yeah, making the circle of salt and leaving him in there, and he vomits again and cries out for help. And yeah, I mean, considering that he could leave him anywhere, because it's not like there needs to even be a door there, it's kind of fucked to leave him in a... Yeah, that's gonna be really, really uncomfortable as soon as someone, like, has to use... Oh, wait, I guess as soon as someone has to use the bathroom, they're probably gonna accidentally break the circle. Will he just immediately fly directly back? Because that's what he hasn't been able to get very far away from Monkey so far. But yeah, and also the thing about, we just escaped death, and you want to invited back in by eating at this place. Like, Jesus Christ. And I am really looking forward to the next episode. Shouldn't be terribly long before I do it. Because I don't quite know. I mean, as best I could tell, he went back to where he was before, and he's seeing monkeys. I guess maybe it's a new tribe that moved there, because, like, there's no way that that's the original tribe. I guess it's possible he's seeing things. He's picturing that maybe if he goes back, there will be a new tribe, and that's what. But I'm definitely interested. I am a little worried that Lady Bullseye might find, and as mentioned, I think there's some chance that Bryce is gonna fly right back as soon as someone accidentally breaks the, yeah, the circle of salt. It moves us all, and I guess that does pretty much cover the entire episode. I'm just real quick gonna mentally go back over. So let's see. There's not more with the cops. There's not more with Lady Bullseye. Monkey. Bryce. Bryce once again has, a lot of the funniest lines of the episode, and I do appreciate they are still having him, really open up, and then of course he I mean, maybe he's taking after Monkey, because that did seem like he was flinging poop when he said, um, you know, was it something about like being a monkey's pet or something like that? And it's like, I mean, I would say you were doing so well, but I guess that's also not quite accurate. But yeah, that's there's like 3 episodes left of this season, so this is a good place to have you know the two split up. It's possible it'll be resolved by the end of the very next episode. I would not rule that out, but definitely, it's if we're talking about like the whole 3-act structure for a season, heroes at their lowest end is where we're at, and I think that does. And I absolutely do agree. Like Bryce definitely needs to treat Monkey better than he has been, and maybe this is the way to teach him that. Yeah, I guess that does bring. Yeah, so I do. Yeah, it was very, very clever to trap him. That's just use some put some salt on the ground and trap him there. It's I don't know. Considering the shape, I guess you could say it's a bit like a vicious circle. Just keeps going around and around, never stops. That's what makes it vicious, and a circle.